Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing, this August the 18th, 2025 nightly cryptocurrency and blockchain technology gold and silver bullion update. And as you do know, we invest to become asset millionaires, and that's why this channel was created as the Bitcoin price is trying to recover, as we all are trying to recover and trying to expand and trying to grow our assets and our net worth to become asset millionaires. The Bitcoin price has been doing that over the history of the Bitcoin, but in the recent immediate short term, it hit an all-time high of about 124,000, and it's excuse me, it's corrected almost 7%. And just as it's corrected 7%, you can correct your trading, you can correct your investing, and you can influence and change your future and change uh, the timeline and the pattern and the direction that you're moving right now by becoming an asset millionaire, just as the Bitcoin price is stabilizing there. And you can see we're sitting just on top of the 50-day moving average, just below the all-time high at 124,640 and 15 cents. We are in this multi-year rising channel here. It's had falling volume the whole time, but crypto, which is prototypical for a rising channel, you would usually see the volume falling, and that's why when they're aimed up, they're bullish, but they usually reverse and come down. And we are anticipating that at some point. It's just exactly where that happens from. You can see we came into this off the mountain double top from the COVID capitulation to the upside before the Fed started to pretend to raise interest rates and fight inflation and yada yada yada, and it caused that along with the stock market correction in that same span. And there you go. Late fall of 2022 and early 2023, we started our rising channel, and that's where we've been at ever since. In the same way you've been educating yourself with truth, trust, and education at this channel to become an asset millionaire via gold and silver bullion and mining stocks, cryptocurrencies, 401k study investing, real estate, and a little bit of cash on the side for emergencies, car, roof, medical bills, peace of mind. Also, more importantly, to buy a new or accumulating into an existing asset, you got to have cash there to do that at strategic times. And that's what we're here to do. And we're on our more than 10-year journey, about year number 15 now, about year number 13. And I started to share this with you, and you can help support the channel and to grow our education and to grow your investing knowledge so you can become an asset millionaire as an everyday person like I am. For as cheap as $3.99 a month, video description and or pinned comment. Enough of that nonsense. And just as we're enough of that nonsense, the Bitcoin price wants to be enough of this consolidation, because we're still what we've been following for quite some time here with the Bitcoin price. We're still following after this most recent pump in our track. We had the most recent pump, sideways consolidation, although this is over doubled the length of this consolidation. But if this continues to hold, and you can see where we had a big capitulation after the pump and a consolidation, pump consolidation, then a big regional capitulation, then the pump up, then the pump up, then it came back down, then it came back down, but didn't make a new low, didn't make a new low. Is this about to go to the upside now? And if it does, like we've been telling you, it's going to 144,000 to 155,000 near the top part of this rising channel up there. And I wouldn't be shocked if it actually hit it, which would be up near 160,000 at the current date, 165,000. And that is possible. And that would be the target up there, centered around the 155. If this does break to the upside and follow the pattern, obviously, if this breaks to the downside, your multi-year rising channel that we went over down here, which is running parallel with the 100-day moving average, is your major structural pattern support. Because if you broke that, that's when you would look at, is it just a fake out, or are we coming to retest and actually breaking down out of a major pattern and just getting back into this region from where you're at now is a very, very big correction to the downside. And that would wipe out a lot of people on the leverage. And that's why we don't leverage trade and we don't recommend it. You long term trade, but that would be a 23% move to the downside And then you would have to make up its mind in the market. Is that just a brief correction, which is very, very healthy, and a fake out of this pattern? Or is that actually telling you something structurally changed in the current pattern and the current direction in the overall market? But that's all up for speculation. Currently, in the short term, we're still well within this pattern and still trading the same as we've been most of the end of this summer through June and July with the Bitcoin price. And we're going to continue to see what it wants to do here in the short term. The Ethereum price has been the major cap coin that's been on a roll. And to me, what this looks like we talked about over the weekend, is we're going to come down and tap the 4,071, retest a major resistance level that we broke out of, just like we're canceling out of that, which is the megaphone resistance, which would be a 15% decline to the downside. And that would make perfect sense because there's your megaphone, and it's a macro time frame pattern, which are very bullish, as bullish as you can get in a pattern indicator. You can see you had your pull to the upside. Then over a multi-year time frame, you had upper resistance at a horizontal resistance level in March of 24. Then you hit it in May of 24. Then you hit it in December of 24. Then you hit it in July of 25. Now you've broken out of it, and then you had a falling underneath support, and you can see you hit it in April of 24, August of 24. Then you hit it again in April of 25. So now what you would expect is a retest of the major resistance that you broke, hold it as support, then you go to the all-time high, which I believe is 4,833. And if we scroll over here, that would be correct. And then the technical target actually out of this megaphone pattern, and this isn't just me making a fairy tale out of this would be the technical target to the upside, is $10,323. And that is very, very exciting. And that is something that we're going to watch to see what plays out on here, is I do believe that's why we're coming to retest. I do believe that's why we're coming to retest the megaphone neckline, and that's why we talked about it on Friday when it broke way above it and started to top out. We said that would make the most sense, and it showed you exactly why it should do that, because you did the same thing just a couple of weeks ago when you broke through a major resistance level at 34.93, the top part of the screen trading zone. Then you got rejected, excuse me, just below the megaphone neckline resistance, came down, tapped this now as major support, which you have to do that and then you hold it. You don't have to, but it's a technical way to do things. You tag it, confirm it as support, then you breach the neckline, overshoot it, come back and now tap this and confirm this as new support, because it's a major resistance level that you're breaking. And that's how you go and shoot off to the new all-time high. And I think that's exactly what's going on here right now. And we're going to continue to follow that this week to see if that's exactly what does take place. Although I'm fairly certain that is what's taking place right now, albeit I'm not a financial advisor. We're just giving you my own personal opinions. You can see the moving averages in the daily are uptrending. We can go into the weekly and see if the moving averages have moved right here. As you do know, I added these, and they did move. The weekly time frame will always have the green line, just like it corresponds with the daily moving average um, price labels. You're going to see them with the lines that are always thick. That means they are the weekly time frame moving averages, right? That one got moved somehow because they didn't lock it. And we're going to lock that. Okay, apparently it's locked. And then we're going to move this. And that's, if you're always wondering what these are, that's what they are, even though there's not a price label on there. Get on there. Even though there's not a price label on there, that's what those are in the background, because I want to see where the weekly moving averages are. And the weekly moving averages are good areas to figure out where major support is after the daily time frame breaks down. And you can see the XLM is currently way above the moving averages, and currently in the daily time frame, it's sitting just above the 50-day moving average, which is a very healthy spot to consolidate. But currently, we're coming off of a retest of the major 43 cents, which is your short term or medium term bearish or bullish indicators right here. And right now you got rejected by it. You got rejected by it on the retest, on the retest. And as long as you're below this, you're short term bearish. And this underneath 36 cents and the 100-day moving average, just as the 50-day and the 36 cents on a wick acted like a magnet the last time it broke that 43 cents, it's going to do the same thing if you continue to stay below this 43 cents. This 100-day moving average now, along with this 36 cents, will act as a magnet and full candle body will hit it and more than likely breach it a little bit before you get some support. And that's going to be a critical thing if that does happen. And that's all speculation, of course, by me. But if that does happen, just as I'm going to delete that, it would try to be deleting our current uptrend and maybe want to retest the 31 cents or the 200-day moving average that is conveniently at that major support and resistance level. So that is what we're watching in the short term. Or is this just going to be the final leg of this three-leg consolidation before the next leg to the upside on a breach to 43 cents and eventually up to the 55 cents here in the short term as we go into the fall of 2025 and end out the 2025 calendar year? Those are all exciting things in the future. Our track shows a continued consolidation through September into October before there's a little rally, but a continued consolidation into the late fall before 2026 starts the real next leg to the upside, according to our track, which has been doing a phenomenal job so far. And we should have used and had that more weighted heavily, maybe triple weighted into our probability based system. If we look at the XRP, it's the same thing with XRP. I have these in the weekly time frame. So if you're wondering what they are, you can see there is we got to unlock that. There is the 200-day or the 100-day moving average. Here is the 200-day moving average. You can see it's been a minute since I blocked them or moved them. It's been about 2 weeks. There's the 100-day, and then you can see the 50-day moving, the 50-day moving average. We want to delete that. Yes. Okay, I don't know what that just deleted, but it was not the right thing. Of course, it was the track. Oh my God. Delete that. Yes. Sorry, my audience. Unlock. We move that up there to the current location of the 50-day moving average in the weekly time frame. And again, I feel it's very important, but they will always be three thickness levels. Any other moving average will or line will always be below that three thickness level. That's how you'll know what those are. And you can see right now with the XRP price, if we zoom back into the daily time frame, we are sitting again, XLM and XRP, they literally do the same thing. Sometimes they lag each other by a few days or a week, but their patterns are almost always identical, just at a different price level. And you can see right now the XRP, just at a different price level, is sitting now just below this major resistance level at the 308, 307, which is the same thing. We had the hump one, hump two. We came up and tried to hold it the first time, failed. It bounced on the 50-day moving average, much above this critical area of the 255. But it hit the 50-day moving average, just like XLM came back up, took a little longer, but now it's below this critical 307, 308, just as the 43 cents on the XLM. And now it's failing for a second time. And this time we're touching on the 50-day on a wick. But I think if you continue to stay down too much longer, you're not only going to come and wick down, you're going to come through it and retest to 273, and it'll act like a magnet down to this 255, which by then the 200-day moving average would be sitting just over top of it. If you can't stay on top of this 307, 308 horizontal support and resistance that you're currently just barely ever so slightly below it at about 305 at the current price when I'm recording this, right? So that's what we're looking at in the short term there. But if you can get on top of this, obviously you can reclaim and try to retake out the local 366. But right now, the overall crypto market is in a consolidation and slightly tending towards the bearish consolidation type right now, ending the brief bullish patterns that we had. And if we go and try to see if there's any news in the XRP today. Let's see any news. OpenAI ChatGPT predicts the price of XRP. ChatGPT XRP analyst flags 294 support. We just went over that at Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. Turn BTC into daily income. All for mining launches Bitcoin cloud mining strategy for cryptocurrency enthusiasts. We might have to look into that. That might be something interesting. XRP three-phase cycle signaling a massive price jump. XRP market forecasts indicate XRP expected to reach $30 by 2026. I don't think it'll hit 30 in 2026. I have currently a $4 to $7 or $4.75, $7.75 target with a max potential of $12 and change. But obviously that's all subject to change. That's just my current opinions right now. Crypto news today, latest update for August. Crypto turns XRP whales move nearly 300 million as Ripple RLUSD stable coin triggers massive accumulation wave. XRP custody for institutional advocate using Ripple technology. And of course, the institutional adoption continues, and that's something that I've seen here. Ethereum Bitcoin liquidity zones, OpenAI, Ethereum treasury firm BTC to pay Ethereum dividend and loyalty payment in part to ward off short selling. That's very interesting. I like that by offering a yield to stay in, much like paying a dividend in a stock. But a dividend in a stock is paid by the profits from the products they're selling. And in this case, Ethereum can only pay a dividend if it keeps appreciating, right? So it's kind of a caveat there. Uh, what else do we have here in the news? As we're just going to start doing a daily news, see if there's any propaganda. Bitcoin, TeraWolf announces 400 million private note data center pushes 60 million upsize options. And what we're seeing here again, AMDX unveils uh, Euro nuts bond Bitcoin treasury targeting 1% supply. Europe micro strategies. Again, like I'm telling you, and I'm trying to educate you guys on this, even though this is just my personal conspiracy. I think the ETFs and the corporate uh, companies that are leveraging their assets in their own company to become a ETF, Ethereum treasury, or a Bitcoin treasury like MicroStrategies or here, who wants to be the Europe MicroStrategies, or the companies that are buying up 6% of the Ethereum float. I think they're going to have corporate ETFs or a MicroStrategies, how they're doing it, where they own the Bitcoin, or the ETFs that are owned by BlackRock and all the hedge funds that own all the real estate to begin with. They want to own all of the free floating Bitcoin and Ethereum. So when the average retail, you and me, wants to participate in it, we have to buy into their funds or into their corporate treasury, like a MicroStrategies, and then pay them a management fee, an asset management fee, service fees, and all that nonsense. So say they're taking 6 or 8% off your cut off the top, or 2%. You have to pay them now to just participate because you can't outright own the Bitcoin for yourself. I believe that's what's been going on now the last 2 years. I wish I would have been on top of this sooner. That's my bad, but I'm on top of it now. And I believe that is what's going on across the board, especially with Ethereum and Bitcoin right now. Solana too, because there's an ETF there. And the more ETFs now that XRP is there, even though there's much, much more coins, they're going to start doing the same thing. They're going to try to buy it all up and force you to sell it. So that way you can never rebuy it. You can only rent it and pay a management fee to the ETFs, to the BlackRocks, to the corporate treasuries like a MicroStrategies. And I believe that's what's happening. So we cannot sell to them. We must hold and not allow them to do what they always do, buy up all the assets and then rent them out to us and charge us management fees. Peace and love, the Rock Eyebrow Jay.